HTL versus JSP. What is a JSP? A JSP is a Java server page, is a way to create a dynamic HTML content through the use of Java programs. Static HTML example. Normal HTML content is static and will only allow to display the content that is provided through the tags. Given this example, HTML hello world, it's just going to show hello world. Static HTML works great in a lot of scenarios, but what if you wanted to access data from a repository or present a conditional statement that would change your markup depending on the data? Example, if you wanted to have your website create a date, February 17, 2017, you would have to go in there and update your website every day that it's changed. JSPs can do this. So up here is showing an import statement where the java.text.simpleDate format is imported and the java.util_date is implemented. And within the HTML content, it's dynamic, showing that it will capture the current date. Here's another JSP example. Double num equals math.random. If number is greater than 0.95, you'll have a lucky day. Else, well, life goes on. So it's a great way to create dynamic HTML through the use of Java programs. The problem with JSPs there are security vulnerabilities, it's complex code, and the high cost for projects. With the JSP, the security vulnerabilities are simple as not having a out tag or a C out tag in particular. It can create a cross-site scripting attack to where somebody can inject a code and they can get in there and access your data, your cookies, and cause severe damage to your website. So these simple little tags right here, the C in, C out, can cause severe issues. The code is also very complex. So as you can see in this example, just to do a simple hello world and get the date, it looks very messy. There's a lot to it. And again, with missing these little tags here, you can create a lot of issues. The cost is very high with JSPs too because of the code's complexity and because of the security vulnerabilities. The potential for a project, it could be very high because it takes longer to create the code, and it also takes the security vulnerabilities will be detrimental in the long term if there was an issue. So what is an HTL? An HTL is formerly known as Sightly, is an HTML template language. It was created as a solution to have dynamic HTML without the problems that are presented in JSPs. So here's an example of an HTL. On the left side is the actual HTL, so the data providers.title. And this data sli use is grabbing the Java code separately. So already with an HTL, you're separating your Java code from your HTML code. So what are the benefits of HTLs? Your increased security, simplified development, and your reduction of cost. Unlike JSPs where the developer has to ensure that the proper escaping tag or cout, the HTL is automatically implemented, reducing the security drastically, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about missing one of these could cost the project in the long run. So the development is simplified as well. With HTLs, the Java portion is separated from the HTML, making the code easier to diagnose when there is an issue. Instead of looking through one giant piece of code, you can diagnose the code individually. Easier to read when maintaining, and easier to code because you don't have to worry about the escaping tags. So here's a very complex JSP on the left side, and on the right side you can see a very simple HTL in comparison. It's a lot easier to read and understand, and again, you can go to your actual Java code and diagnose it individually separate from your HTML versus mixing it all together in one document. So the cost is reduced drastically when you're using HTLs because the code is simple to develop and because of the security vulnerabilities aren't there. So here's a diagram that's straight from the Adobe page that shows that you have an overall potential project cost decrease by about 25% if you do use HTLs. So overall, JSPs and HTLs have the same job of making HTML dynamic, but HTLs complete the job while reducing cost, increasing security, and simplifying the code.